This was Bolton's first home defeat of the season, but many had seen it coming. Their form had dipped either side of that amazing 6-1 cup thrashing of Spurs. James Scowcroft put Ipswich ahead. Bolton were missing 4 players, injured or on international duty, and they did drag themselves level. Captain Gudni Bergson bundled the ball in. But the inspiration to win it just wasn't there. Instead, 90 seconds from time, Scowcroft, one of the best young strikers in England, exploited indecision between Fairclough and Brannigan to clinch an unlikely victory. The games can't come quick enough for Barnsley right now. This could have been a testing afternoon, but Tranmere Rovers were overrun. The speedy Martin Bullock was a constant problem. In the second half, John Hendry read the wind-assisted goal kick better than Rovers' panic-stricken defence. Hendry should have scored. His partner, Paul Wilkinson, did. Barnsley captain Neil Redfern is playing the best football of his career, according to manager Danny Wilson. And after Andy Liddell had been fouled by Jed Brannan, Redfern rounded off another convincing victory. But that's as far as it goes.
There's a hell of a long way to go yet, you know, and you'll have heard all the cliches before, you know, we've got another game next week and blah, 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 but we have, you know, and if we get carried away, we'll be very foolish. But at this moment in time, it's nice that your win can take you up the league as it have.
These two teams could be meeting again soon before an FA disciplinary commission. There was no sign of the trouble in store when Neil Shipperley drove Crystal Palace into a third-minute lead. Palace dominated the first half. Norwich imposed themselves in the second, and when Neil Adams' free kick was deflected in, they sensed a grandstand finish. And 2 minutes from the end, something snapped. Norwich didn't like Kevin Muscat's foul on Darren Eadie. Palace claimed Eadie had dived, and after Ray Houghton had grabbed Eadie, 21 players reached for their handbags. In the end, referee Kevin Lynch sent off just 2, Muscat and Houghton, for the first time in his long career. Just when Wolves fans thought it was safe to go back to Molineux, their side were beaten at home again, this time by the Bossum club. Oldham's 2 heroes were goalkeeper Gary Kelly and the human stick insect, match winner Ian Ormondroyd. Mark Steen's back at the Victoria ground, and Stoke are climbing the table again. Here's Peter Brackley.
Shearer. In goes Kavanagh. Now Steen, he's onside. Great chance for Mark Steen! And finish with great aplomb. Mark Steen is back in business. His first goal since his return to the Victoria ground on loan. Yes, quite rightly, Kavanagh getting the congratulations from his teammates as well for the part that he played at that. He simply smacked that one into the corner. Robinson. Knocked off by Waters to Wayne Allison. Kavanagh did well. Off goes Steen from Sheeran's pass. Is this going to be his second? There's the answer. Well, the cry of Steeno is now ringing around the Victoria ground, and that will be music to his ears. So long in the shadows at Stamford Bridge with Chelsea. He's back at the club where he was such a success, and that's his second of the afternoon, his second since his return to the club.
Well, how satisfying an afternoon was that for you?
Any afternoon where you win 2-0, Peter, is satisfying. You can't ask for everything. We got 2 goals. We got a home win, which completed 3 home wins in a row for us. And 3 points. Good weekend for us.
One of the smallest players in the league has made a really big impression at Queen's Park Rangers. John Spencer only arrived last month, but Rangers have now won 3 in a row. Spencer's sharp turn was too clever for Mark McNally. Simon Barker took the penalty, and from there Rangers accelerated away. Their next was fortunate. Alan MacDonald claimed it, but Southend's Andy Harris got the meaningful header. But Trevor Sinclair, Danny Dichio, Gavin Peacock and Spencer really began to enjoy themselves in the second half. When Simon Royce missed the cross, Spencer knocked in his 3rd goal in 4 games. His success at QPR might persuade Gavin Peacock to make his loan move from Chelsea permanent. Peacock exchanged passes with Dichio before scoring his second goal in 2 games. 4-0. Port Vale are into the comfort zone of mid-table. Charlton were booed off at the end of a game that began with Phil Chappell heading them into the lead. But Port Vale had the outstanding player, tiny striker Tony Naylor. When Charlton's defence made mistakes, Naylor punished them. After Richard Rufus's dreadful miss-kick, Naylor ran on to equalise. In the second half, he terrorised Phil Chappell in particular. First, the centre-half thought about a back pass, didn't make up his mind. In a flash, Naylor had swept the ball beyond Mike Salmon. 3 minutes later, Chappell's clearance was charged down by John McCarthy. When his cross wasn't cut out, Naylor's hat-trick was a formality. Portsmouth are another side whose fluctuating form makes them a betting man's nightmare. But when Lee Bradbury was fouled by Tony Norman, Portsmouth had a penalty and a major photo opportunity. Simpson did his bit by knocking in the kick. It took a bit of working out. Their spelling wasn't too clever at first, but in the end, Fratton Park got the message. Portsmouth's latest signing, Matthias Svensson, then took over. The striker, who was a used car salesman back in Sweden, crowned his full debut with 2 goals in 3 minutes. Bradbury made the first. David Hillier, back in the side for only the second time after being sent off on his debut, created Svensson's second. Huddersfield, who went so close to the playoffs last season, will do very well to match that achievement now. This was another blow to their confidence, despite Lee Makel's bundled goal early in the second half.
Hey, we're on the telly here.
Howard Kendall took over at Sheffield United in December '95. If they'd started the season then, he'd have been celebrating his first anniversary with another title. 122, drawn 17, lost 7, was Sunderland's record on the way to last season's First Division title. And it was Kendall's league record before this weekend. Only Sheffield United had a better goal difference.
When I first went to the club, they were in a desperate situation down at the bottom, and I elected to make changes very, very quickly. And fortunately enough, we survived and finished the season very, very well, and people were very optimistic at the start of this season.
Some said this was Kendall's last chance at a big city club. But if he took a risk, his chairman Mike MacDonald has been rewarded for it. In October, Kendall turned down a return to Manchester City. So convinced is he in MacDonald's long-term ambition, and because his team building has taken shape so quickly.
When you looked at the relegated sides, I think that we're probably looking for them to be a real threat in terms of going straight back up, because they were spent heavily to try and stay in the Premier. And they do have outstanding players. Kikladze, of course, at Man City. I mean, he's an outstanding individual player. But I tend to try and build teams rather than build it around one individual. Right from the Liverpool days, I think. I think it was maybe Bill Shankly that said, we start with a goalkeeper, a centre-half, a central midfield player, and a striker. And if you have outstanding qualities in those positions, then you can build around it. And I think that's still the case in the present-day game.
To develop that spine, Kendall has transformed the playing staff. Amazingly, 75% have arrived in the last year. Defender David Holdsworth, twin brother of Wimbledon's Dean, is the latest. In midfield, Kendall has always valued experience. Nigel Spackman is also assistant manager. But Howard's Way has found room for one wild card. Striker Petr Kachuro, the first Belarusian in English football.
He played a trial match for us, and he played a reserve game. And in the week that he was with us, we could see outstanding qualities, and it was really taking a chance, because you never know whether they're going to settle. And we took it, and the lad's playing particularly well at the moment and scoring goals.
Oh, Kachuro getting in around the back of Richards. Turned very well, and it's there! Starr left completely stranded. What a substitution, what an inspired switch by Howard Kendall.
So much is maybe said, and maybe it's unfair to you just to keep looking back towards the 80s, towards the Everton time. But how ambitious are you still? How much now is there in you to make sure that you win something else? That you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very ambitious. I mean, I think that it'd be very difficult for me to go to work for a club where the chairman or the football club are not ambitious. I think after achieving success in the past, then if you feel or you sense that the club are not looking to be successful, then I think that, I would lose interest. But at the moment, that's not the case. The whole place is bubbling, and we wanted to continue.
Kendall's second year in charge began at Oxford United, where a lucky draw as Everton manager in '84 had saved his job. But on Saturday, there were negative vibes when defender Michael Vonk injured his Achilles in the warm-up and couldn't play. But it hardly justifies Sheffield United's dreadful display. Holdsworth and the Norwegian Roger Nielsen never got to grips with Oxford's attack, and their young striker Martin Aldridge. Aldridge had struggled to win a place, but his surge of confidence after that first goal was mirrored throughout the home side. 9 minutes later, Aldridge couldn't score first time, but his second shot did cross the line. All the distress signals couldn't inspire Sheffield United. Oxford was sharper, stronger, and Aldridge rounded off some excellent approach play by volleying in his third. His first ever league hat-trick had taken just 19 minutes. It was the first time Sheffield United had conceded 3 away from home under Kendall. Oxford couldn't play as well in the second half. They didn't need to. And even Nigel Jempson's embarrassment at missing a penalty was soon overcome. 2 minutes later, Joey Beecham turned Nielsen one way and then the other, and Jempson escaped more loose marking to head in. United did put together one decent attack. 2 minutes from the end, Cachorro crossed for Andy Walker to head in. But the team had let down their supporters and their manager, who set the highest standard. He can only hope, in the words of Alex Ferguson, that it's just a blip.
And that was so uncharacteristic of the performances that we put in this season, and probably it was the worst since I came to the club. I mean, we started badly. The first 45 really was embarrassing. I don't think that any player on our side could hold their hands up and take credit for their performance today.
What does it tell you about your team, perhaps, and maybe what does it tell you about the Sheffield United's prospects?
No, they've already shown me what they can do consistently. What they will have to do now is to show me at Crystal Palace that this was a one-off.
It was only Sheffield United's second defeat in 14 games, but it drops them to third. Barnsley's win lifts them into second, just a point behind Bolton. Oxford have moved up to fifth. Oldham's victory at Wolves means they go above Grimsby and Bradford to within a point of Southend, beaten at Queen's Park Rangers. Portsmouth and Ipswich move up 2 places after their wins.